News Weekend, Update 3. Channel 4's continuing story of news this weekend.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Mayer. As America celebrates its 200th birthday, Israelis are rejoicing at a commando raid that freed 102 hostages. And a record number of new citizens take the oath of allegiance on Miami Beach. We'll have details on those stories and the rest of the July 4th news coming up.
Hi, I'm Tony Segreto. Believe it or not, Richard Petty nor David Pearson won the Firecracker 400 at Daytona. We'll tell you who won it in just a few minutes, plus a bicentennial look at sports.
Hello, I'm Don Carson, and weather, you could hardly ask for nicer 4th of July weather, and there's a pretty good chance it's going to stay that way. We'll talk a bit more about that a bit later on.
The nation of Israel is in an exultant state today following the successful raid by Israeli commandos on the Entebbe airport in Uganda in the early morning hours of this July 4th. That raid freed more than 100 hostages who had been held aboard an Air France jetliner for more than a week by Palestinian guerrillas. The hostages, many of them Israelis, were taken to Israel, where they enjoyed a tearful reunion with friends and relatives. The raid brought strong reaction from all over the world, and here in Miami, Congressman William Lehman gave his unresolved support to the action.
I believe in what Israel did, and I believe that the United States should support the action that Israel took today.
Why?
Because I think it is time that the people that are subjected to these kinds of terrorist activities have a chance to strike back and show that these terrorists and the countries that harbor these terrorists are not going to get away with it any longer. I think that we should once again reaffirm our total opposition to the terrorist activities and, if necessary, break off trade and diplomatic relations to the kinds of countries that give refuge to these terrorists.
One of the most meaningful of today's events in Dade County was held this morning at the Convention Center on Miami Beach. Bob Jackson has this report on 7,000 new citizens of the United States.
This was to be the largest naturalization ceremony in the history of the nation. In all, 7,141, mostly Cubans, came prepared to become American citizens. The ceremony had all the pomp and circumstance befitting a nation celebrating its 200th birthday. Then the moment came that they had all been waiting for, the administration of the oath of allegiance by Joseph Bogart.
Each of you hereby declare on your oath that you absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state or sovereignty of whom or which you have heretofore been a subject or a citizen, that you will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America. Do each of you take that solemn oath? You may lower your hands and be seated.
The 7,141 sat and listened attentively to the various guests on the platform, which included congressmen, judges, mayors, national and local dignitaries. This was to be the most important day in their lives. Many cried with joy. Many wept with pain in memory of those left behind in their old homeland. For they will join the ranks now held by over 200 million other Americans. Bob Jackson for Channel 4 News.
Miami's bicentennial celebration began this morning with the One Nation Under God, an interdenominational program that featured choral selections and religious and patriotic music. The service took place at the new Bicentennial Park on Biscayne Boulevard in downtown Miami and was presented by the Interfaith Advisory Council of Third Century USA, Dade County's official bicentennial organization. Portions of the 90-minute program were telecast nationally by CBS and narrated by Channel 4 News Director Ralph Renner. That park, incidentally, was officially dedicated in ceremonies this afternoon. Daryl Pollack reports.
100 years ago today, a group of Miami citizens planted an oak tree for the centennial celebration. Today it happened again, but this time the planters were public officials. The costume's a bit different, and the small settlement on Biscayne Bay has grown a little bit bigger. It was time for a new generation to usher in the beginning of a new century, and the dedication of Bicentennial Park drew a patriotic crowd of thousands. Plus the celebrities, Master of Ceremonies Ralph Rennick, Congressman Claude Pepper and Dante Fascell, City of Miami Commissioners Rose Gordon, J.L. Plummer and Manolo Rebozo, Metro Mayor Steve Clark and Miami Mayor Maurice Ferre.
We have economic difficulties. We have social problems. But the one important thing that this country sends as a message in this bicentennial year, as we enter our third century, is not that this is a free country, because we have been free for 200 years, but rather that we are a country that recognizes the dignity of every and each human being that lives in this country.
The surprise heroes of the day were the 3 boys who arrived by boat from Cuba 4 days ago, just in time for their flight to take on special meaning. And the whole day had special meaning for all the people who visited Bicentennial Park. For the rest of the country, our nation's birthday ends today. But Miami's Bicentennial has just begun. The park by the bay. Daryl Pollack, Channel 4 News.
Tragedy also marks this 4th of July. 9-year-old Maria DiMaria and her mother Jane died this morning as the result of a fire which engulfed their Pompano Beach home. The fire was discovered by Peter DiMaria when he returned home early this morning from his job. 4 more children in the DiMaria family were injured in that blaze, as well as DiMaria's in-laws. According to reports, DiMaria's wife died when she raced into the house in an effort to rescue members of the family who were trapped inside.